think it's streaming now. Greetings, everybody. Thank you so much for your patience. My name is Debbie, and this is Dwayne from Black British Parent. And we really appreciate you joining us this evening and watching our video. We don't have often YouTube lives, but this is a very important situation. I'm not sure if anybody has seen the footage yet, but there was a video that went viral that was posted by the police global, and they shared a video of a young man on the train and being stopped by a transport police officer regarding the fact that this young man was not wearing a mask. Now, the issue that I had when watching this video initially, and why I felt the need to share it, is admittedly the young man should have been wearing a face covering, and he wasn't. But the things that got me was after the young man was given a face covering, he put it on, and the police pursued and continued to agitate and antagonize the young man and his group of friends. Now, after sharing the video, the young man contacted us on Instagram, and we had a few conversations, and again it further highlighted and confirmed my initial concerns when I saw the footage. Now, unfortunately, as well, this young boy has been, how can I say, criticized in a way by our own community, by parents, you know, and other elders in our community, and have their own personal views, which they're entitled to have, on how this young boy should have or could have handled the situation better. And I understand everyone's concerns, etc. I'm not, you know, this isn't an indirect or a direct attack on what has been said, but it leads me to question how we view situations like this, and how we come together as a community to support each other through situations such as what, you know, had been recorded and shared online. So as I said, we had Isaac contact us, the young man that was in the video, and he after speaking to him, I invited him to come on and have a conversation amongst myself and my peers, which is who is Cheryl Phoenix from the Black Child Agenda, and hopefully we'll be having Raspect join us, who is a founder of the Police. So Isaac, can we unmute his mic? Isaac?
Can you hear me?
Hi, yes, we can just about hear you. I know not everyone can hear me clearly, so I'm trying to shout into the microphone of our system. But yeah. Isaac, thank you for joining us on this live stream on YouTube. Would you like to, I wanted to ask you, what was it and how was it that made you contact the Black British Parent? What was the reasons behind doing that?
I was referred by my coach, who's also someone that's close to me. So he said that he saw the situation on your page, and that I should contact you guys to talk upon it.
So did you speak to your coach about what had happened before it had gone onto the internet? Sorry?
Yeah, I did.
You did? And was he supportive, or, you know, was he understanding of the situation that you had encountered?
Yeah, he was very understanding of the situation.
Okay. So Isaac, can I ask you how old you are, please?
I'm 16.
You're 16. So that means you're still in college or school?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So can you please, how long ago did this incident happen?
This incident happened last week, Wednesday.
Last week, Wednesday. Before I go on, I just want to also clarify that your parents have, you know, given permission for you to have this conversation with us as well, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, good. So this happened last week, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Can you give your accounts of the lead up to this situation happening?
All right. So me and my friends, about 10 of us, come back from football in East London. I think we were at Canada Water Station, and we were taking the overground to West Croydon. So now we're now at the station waiting for the train. The train has now come. We've seen 3 officers one black, one white female, and the main person, which was the white male. We saw him staring at us, so we assumed and we knew straight away that there was going to be a problem. So therefore, we said to ourselves, "Is either we go and catch the next train, which is going to be there in a while, or is either we go down 5 carriages." As the day was also raining and cold, we went down 5 carriages. That's what we took. We've now gone into the train. About 30 seconds later, our officers now behind us, and then yeah, the 3 officers are now behind us. The first thing that happened was that he said, "Where are your masks?" To my friends. My friends had their masks. Some of them didn't. But I also want to put account that there was also other people on the train that didn't have masks or
Mm.
other face coverings. So then I didn't say anything or interact with him. In fact, I looked away from him. So now he's now come over to me and said, "Where's your mask?" I've told him before the video even started recording that I haven't got my mask because it's wet, it's soggy, I can't wear it. And also I tried to cover my face with my coat. To use that, as you can see in another video, that my friend was also doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So I tried to do that, but he still wouldn't budge and let me away with that. So he said that and you need to put on a mask or have a mask or something like that. And I said that I haven't got it with me. And he said, "I'm gonna boot you off the train." But I said that I can't get booted off the train, and that you're gonna have to drag me off the train. So then that's when things escalate. You could also see in the video that I'm trying to like move myself away and go to um try and go further down the carriage, just like move myself away, like because I knew where it was gonna go, that the situation was just gonna escalate and he wasn't gonna stop. But he kept shielding me from moving away, and then that's when things just started getting heated, and then stop and start from there.
Okay. So so you knew that they were going to come towards yourselves. All of you and your friends were aware of that. What made you feel
Mhm.
like they were going to target yourselves?
Just one thing I want to state is just not it's not they. I just knew him
Okay.
because
So
those
so
two
there
were
was a
even
group of three police officers,
yeah
one male, one female, and a black police officer, male black police officer.
yeah
So
that's
the
right.
other, so the male and the female were white. There was one black one, but you specifically felt like you was going to be targeted by the
By that
white.
one white male. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Because the other two, they weren't even with him at the time when he walked over to us. They were
Okay.
trailing along, and they didn't look like they were interested, to be honest.
Sure. Okay. So I'm not going to ask you why you weren't wearing a mask,
Yeah,
but there's been a lot of questions as to your mannerisms and how you dealt with the police officer at the time.
yeah,
Now, have you ever encountered anything with the police before?
never in my life,
You never have.
never,
Okay, so you don't have a record, you don't have any previous convictions, nothing of that nature.
nothing.
So it'll be fair to say that you wouldn't necessarily know how to deal with the police. So how was it for you in that experience dealing with the police in that kind of manner?
At first, when he came over to me and I explained to him and he didn't let me, first thing came to mind was that my heart was just pounding a lot. Like I didn't know how to react. I didn't know what to even say. I was stuttering a lot as well. I just didn't know what to do if a police officer is like gonna say that he's gonna beat you up and stuff like that. So I didn't know how to react. To be honest, I really didn't know.
Okay. Um, so eventually you get the mask given to you
Yeah,
and you put it on. What
yeah.
happened after that?
Um, he took my oyster. He said, yeah, took my oyster, and he accused me of bumping the train. Said that, yeah, I know you bumped the train. And he took my oyster, looked at it, he said, "This ain't you." I told him, "It's me." He said, then my friend said, "Yeah, it's me." He said, "Yeah, well, you've grown a little bit of hair," and he's giving my oyster now. Situation died down. I've now walked to the other side where it's even packed over there. And yes, he must have said, "Where you guys going?" My friends decided to say, "Don't say anything," and I was there for. Then I started speaking to my friend, and I stated that they like taking us for pussy-holes, and then he waited 5 seconds. He heard very loud and clear that I didn't direct it at him, and then took 5 seconds and then switched onto me and just started grabbing my throat and stuff like that.
He grabbed you by the throat.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you're off the train now. So he did the whole time when he grabbed you by your throat. Was there any markings or anything left on your body? Was you bruised or anything?
No, I wasn't bruised.
Okay, so when did he let go of you?
See, when he got me to the wall, the door, when he was pushing me through people, he grabbed my throat then, and then was also holding my jacket as well. And then as soon as I got to the thing, that's when I was moving my hand. I was like trying to push his hand away from my throat and stuff like that. And then yeah, that's when he was starting to ease up a bit on my throat.
Okay, so once, because I mean, obviously the video shuts off at that point. You see, we get to see the same police officer, you know, trying to argue back his point towards your friend. But after that camera shut off from that point on, what happens then?
After that, I've been taken away by the black police officer and another lady that was with me. Don't know her. She came off the train with me. So now I'm with her and the black officer.
Sorry, just to clarify, is that just a member of the public?
Yeah, member of the public. Yeah.
Okay.
So now the black, she said, what's happened? What has he done wrong? He said I didn't do anything wrong. She asked, oh, has he committed a crime? The officer said I haven't committed a crime. She asked, so why must he lay hands on me then? He said that he doesn't know why and that he shouldn't have done that. When he was
Who
explaining
said he
that,
shouldn't have done that? Sorry,
the black police officer
said to the other woman that
that the white officer shouldn't have done what he done.
okay.
And as he was just going along and they were both speaking, I was just feeling even more unsafe. I was scared. I was like, I was fearing for my life as well, because we know what's going on with the police officers and us black people and how they just treat us anyhow. So I was just scared. I was just feeling unsafe. I was backing up. I told her, I don't want him to be near me. To be honest, I was just really panicking at the time, but trying to keep my cool at the same time. And then the officer said, yeah, he understood, and then went off to go speak to the rest of my friends.
Okay, so it's just as well that the black officer was there and the woman that was there to assist and support and bear witness to what happened. Okay, so did they issue you with an arrest or any, documentation of the incident that that happened?
No, I was free to go. They didn't say anything. They didn't write my name or anything like that.
Okay, so looking back on it, how do you feel about it now?
Right now, looking back at it, if I leave my house, I always make sure I'm carrying more than 2 masks at least, just in case anything. Also, if I see police officers, I always look down or try to divert myself or take a different route. Really and truly, I think I'm very scared of police, very scared. With the situation as well as it going viral, it's kind of affecting me because people now know who I am, and also the people that knew before and saw me as a nice young respected boy are now having two thoughts in mind, thinking, wow, he might not be the young respected boy that we thought he is, and now probably thinking, wow, he's probably just another um ill-disciplined young black boy and stuff like that. And people now start approaching me and saying, you were that boy on that thing, what happened, why do this, why that? And yeah.
Okay.
On that point, I just want to clarify, if anyone that knows about this situation and sees Isaac on the in public, please don't approach him. Please don't question him. He is 16 years old. There's no reason for you to try and hold a conversation with him at all. Isaac, if anyone approaches you, say, I don't want to discuss it. If you don't feel like you do, if anything, refer them back to this conversation and say, I've already had a conversation on our own media outlets about it, and I've got my story across, so go search for it there. I'm sorry to hear that you've been put in that position by the police officer. Well, yeah, you've put in the position by the police officers, and I'm sorry that the public have kind of responded in that way in essence, they're very, it's very thoughtless, because as much as they're well wishing, or they want to help, it's not helping.
And I don't know who they're well wishing, because if it wasn't for the approach of how the police officer approached you, then perhaps you might have responded in a different kind of manner. And I find it interesting and fascinating that people cannot see that you was antagonized and harassed by the police officer, because once you put that mask on, his job was done. There was absolutely no need for him to continue the conversation, in my eyes. And as a mother, I have children, I have a son, I have nephews, I have I have nieces, like younger people around me. I don't think it's right that a police officer can continue to antagonize a situation, particularly when you've done what has been requested. Is there anything that you feel that you would have done differently?
Yeah. What I could have done differently was that I could have stopped. There was times when I could have kept I could have tried my best to keep calm and just leave it. But me personally, I'm a person that if I can tell that you're trying to embarrass me or make me feel some type of way, I'll make sure you don't do that. I'm a strong character. That's why I'll let you know that I'm not that type of person. Not as in I'm stating it as like I'm rude and stuff like that. I'm not. I'm a very nice person, but I just don't like when people try to think they can walk over me anyhow. So I was just letting him know that it's not like that. And I even told him I understand and that I know you're doing your job, but he wouldn't take it. And then also one thing to claim is that if you watch the full video, listen to it carefully, there was one passenger that must have spoke to him and said, "Oh, I feel sorry for you, mate." And he says, "All right, we always get this," and I think he meant it as in, "Oh, he always gets verbal." So therefore, for him to antagonize it, he can't really say anything about him upon that. That's what I could
Him
say.
claiming to be a victim to a certain degree.
Yeah.
When he perpetrated it.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say about it? Actually, what was when you told your mum what happened, if you don't mind me asking, what did your mum think of this situation?
She was upset, distraught, angry. She didn't know what to do. To be honest, I've never seen my mum like that, because the first thing she even told me, first thing that came to mind was that how police officers are just killing young black men. So she was frightened that could have been me. So she was out of her mind, just as I was. She was in a lot of pain. So it wasn't nice seeing that.
I'm sorry to hear that. Has she seen the footage?
Yeah. Soon as it was done, I called her straight away, and I explained to her. I was shed a bit of tears while I was on the phone, explaining to her, and then she told me come back home straight, quick as possible. And then we spoke about
it. I'm really sorry that this happened to you the way it did. I think there's so much more to be said on that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to invite, actually, no, I'm not going to invite anyone yet. I think I'm going to put you on mute for the minute. And myself and Dwayne's just going to have a little bit of a discussion about our thoughts on it. And if there's anything you want to add, or if you want to be, say anything with regards to it, then by all means. But we're just going to keep you there so, you can hear all the things that we're having. But thank you very much for contacting us. We do appreciate that you felt like comfortable enough to speak with us, and you understand the importance of this. Yeah, so we'll speak to you in a little bit, and maybe Raspect, and because we have Raspect join us in a little bit, and Cheryl might want to ask you a few questions or say something to you, so just bear with us, okay? See, the thing is, the issue that I have with this whole situation is exactly like I said, how the community's responded to it. Now, we can all argue that that Isaac was perhaps a bit rude, perhaps a bit mouthy, perhaps a bit given a bit of back chat, whatever anybody wants to say that it is. either way, as far as I'm concerned, when I'm saying what I'm saying, I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't wear a mask. That's got nothing to do with us. We're not agreeing with any youth behaving or talking in any way towards the police officers. We try to encourage young people to be mindful of how they speak and how they deal with police officers, simply because we know how how that can pan out and turn out, as we've all are aware of. And so that's the thing that makes us chastise our own children, so as to not have them be chastised by other people. And we have to be mindful of this, people, right? The comments that we've seen under our post on our platform on Instagram is quite shocking, and it's really quite disappointing. I understand, I get it, but there was absolutely no need for any police officer to behave that way towards Isaac. Being mouthy, being back chatty, or whatever it is not against the law. And as far as I'm concerned, any police officer should have developed or been trained to develop a better way of handling situations like that. Because from what I see, more often than not, is the antagonizing, the condescending behavior, the disrespect. Because I'm sure if the police officer came and approached a young man in a better manner, I was like, do you know what, you need to have a mask on, you know, would prefer it if you did. If you can't wear a mask on the train, then would, you know, we need you to get off the train. There are better ways of speaking to people. And as far as I'm concerned, from the get-go, me as an adult, if somebody came and spoke to me like that, I'm probably going to be a little bit back chatty and mouthy back too. And I'm an adult, I'm a grown person. I'm not saying it's okay, I'm not saying it's right, but for those of us who have been approached by the police for no reason, or even if there is a reason, there's still better ways of approaching people. So any one of us who have been approached by the police, we know what that feels like. And to someone who has never been approached by the police before, never ever had any interaction with the police before, and this police officer, as this young man has clearly said, that he said something to another passenger on the train who said that they felt sorry for him. He said he gets this all the time. So obviously he's responding and reacting in a way based on how he's been treated before. So he's treating every person that he sees a certain way, the same way.
That's a certain level of prejudice within itself. And this is the thing, the police officer, from my perspective, the police officer's response was purely based on ego. His ego was bruised, so he thought, let me assert my authority in this situation. At the point of him dragging Isaac off of the train, Isaac already had a mask on. Isaac hadn't verbally abused him at all. He's the one that decided to continue to try and have an argument or provoke the young men that was there with Isaac, and then physically put his hand and removed him off the train for no warranted lawful reason.
And to think that he was not the only person on the train without a mask on. There were other passengers that weren't a part of his group, and there was people, members of the group he was with that did not have a mask on too. Guys, this just doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna bring Cheryl Phoenix from the Black Child Agenda in to speak with us. Greetings, Cheryl. Thank you for joining us this evening at such short notice. You're on mute, darling. Hold on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Loud and clear.
Awesome. Please share your thoughts and views on this situation that you've just heard.
Okay, so my thoughts are twofold. One, from a legal perspective, it is a criminal offence to not wear a mask on the train. It's not even a crime, but it is an offence to not wear a mask on the train. And as Isaac said, okay, he got on the mask, and he clearly said that his mask was wet, so he couldn't wear it. Now, from a personal perspective, I find the mask very restrictive in the amount of oxygen you can breathe in. which is why so many people have died from wearing masks. Not necessarily in the UK that they've published, but there is an issue. However, on the underground or public transport, you must wear a mask. So the officer was within his rights to ask if he has a mask. And I say that to say the officer was within his rights to ask if he has a mask and why hasn't he got one. And from what I understand, that a lot of officers have been given additional masks to give out for people that haven't got one. I don't know, and maybe this is a question that Isaac can answer for me, if he is exempt from wearing a mask. Because you've also got the scenario where there are a lot of people who are exempt from wearing a mask for all kinds of different ailments and conditions that also need to be taken into consideration. So that should have actually been one of the questions that should have been asked. With that, I saw some of, whilst you guys are speaking, I had to double check, because that video, one thing I can't do, and that's just with my core, my energy, my womb, cannot watch videos of our young people being abused by anybody. I can't watch them. It actually, I will see the first maybe 5 or 10 seconds. And after that, when I see it's escalating, I'm gone, because I don't know, it does a lot to my emotions. So to see what I saw, I wasn't happy. A lot of people saying that he should have done this, he should have done that. However, you're talking about a 16-year-old child. Remember, we're talking about a child. He's only 16. He's been on this planet right here on Mother Earth for 16 years. So all of you 20, 30, 40, 50-year-olds with your judgmental attitudes about how a 16-year-old should have managed that situation, seriously, he hasn't had the life experience. He hasn't had the life skills. And no matter how many his parents may have spoken to him, or we can speak to him about that, it's a journey that he's going to have to go through. And there's going to be a point in time for himself where it's going to be like, clink. Right now, from what I've just heard for him, his experience has been very negative and very emotional. And people don't understand that as young children going through that, there's a psychological problem with how our children are. And I've said it all day today. I've been on the phone from since 8:30 this morning, dealing with cases. I've been in court. I've been in tribunals from since 8:30 this morning till 7 o'clock this evening. And all of it was about, no, that's a lie, 6 o'clock. And all of it was around dealing with our children's social, emotional, and mental well-being. Because how they're treated by whether it is police, by whether it is teachers, by whether it is wider society, has an impact on how they now are going to respond to someone coming at them aggressively. If you come aggressive, you get aggressive. And that it goes to anyone. It doesn't matter about his age. It doesn't matter about anything else. Why is it when Charlie or Ben are throwing bricks at the police or swearing F-bombs and this and that and the other, nothing is done? But whenever a young black male is actually defending himself, being held by the neck, first of all, why did no one on the train get up to defend this young man and actually speak on his behalf? Secondly, we look on and it is like, oh, well, he must have deserved it. I bet he's probably a criminal. I bet he's got a string of convictions. But no, there is a minority of young black males in our society, yes, who have a string of convictions, who have a lot of these things. They're a minority, but the majority of our children, and I say our, because a lot of us in our community, if you want to call it that, common unity, say a lot. We got a lot of chat when it comes about our children. But the reality is when they see our children in a position in public, whether that's police or anybody else, we sit back with our arms crossed, being judgmental, and we don't say a word. We sit back and we watch this. Oh, this must be what I saw in the Daily Mail. This must be what I saw on Sky News. Oh yeah, look, that's what they were talking about with regards to them. But you look just like them, fool. And the same child that they're talking about is you, your brother, your uncle, your dad. It's the same child. So if you're not going to stand and defend something, then like it says, you will fall for anything. And as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to our children, prove me wrong. So I will defend our child all day, every day. Whatever they've done, however they've spoken, so bloody what? He was rude, so he was this, so would you not have been if some police officer is harassing and haranguing you, and as a 16-year-old, no one stood up to say, hold on a minute, wait just a moment, let's actually get some dialogue going on here. But no, it was aggress, attack on a boy. He's a child. So at the end of the day, where was our defense as the black community, white community, whatever you are, whoever was on that train? Where was your defense for a child? Because if this was Timothy, Ben, or Joshua, I can guarantee you would have had something to say. But because it was Kwame and it was Isaac or Isaiah, you had nothing to say, because your perception of us as a people is that we are a criminal already. So we have to prove our innocence before you defend our life. We have to prove our innocence, and we can't do that because young 16-year-olds, 15, 14, 13s are not necessarily always that articulate. They don't articulate themselves as a 25, 30 or 40-year-old. So because of that, you've judged this child and already criminalized him and allowed him to be that child that could have potentially died. Who knows if he had asthma? Who knows if he's got breathing problems? But yet we had an officer of the so-called law who had his hand round his throat and dragged him off the train in that fashion. Seriously, what crime did this young man commit? Did he kick someone on the train? Did he abuse anybody on the train? Did he harm anyone on the train? Did he do anything? Or was he being followed because he had committed a crime somewhere else that led them to follow him on the train? No, he was on the train, minding his business, coming from practice, and he didn't have a mask on. No one asked him if he was had to wear a mask, if he was exempt from wearing a mask, if he had any health complications, his age, they asked him where he was going. That's not your damn business. He wasn't arrested. He wasn't charged with a crime. The worst that could have happened, he would have been given a fine. So all of this based on a fine. I'm not even sure how much the fine is. £90, £100?
£100, I think.
All of this because he didn't have a mask on. He explains to the officer, as he said, my mask was wet. I couldn't wear it. So, young man, okay, fair enough. Here's another mask. In future, make sure that you have more than one, like he said himself, and blah, blah, whatever. Have a good evening. That's all that would have happened.
To add to that as well, someone on the train when I recall this, asking the police officer if he has a spare mask to give the man.
And why don't they?
And I was thinking that's something they should be doing, because they know that people aren't going to have a mask, isn't it? So if they're walking around with some, just to diffuse situations and just hand one out, I just would have thought that was the thing.
I bought a pack of 2 masks the other day. As soon as I've opened up the packaging, the string on one of them popped. So what do you do?
But the fact is, they didn't even do their own due diligence. And your own due diligence and your own risk assessment would ask, first of all, why do you not have a mask on? And if he's answered to you, my mask got wet and I can't wear it, then your next question would be, do you have another one? Or here you go, here is another one. However, that officer came on the train with an agenda, and his agenda was to piss off a young black male today and criminalize a child. And what we need to understand, and unfortunately our children are just children. The sad part is that they have to grow up 10 years prior to everybody else. And, I hear a lot of talk from a lot of our adults. Oh, he should have done this. Just like what you lot said, oh, he should have done that. Why should he have done any of those things? Why? He is 16 years of age. So double that, he'll be 32. He is still a child. What is it that he should know that makes you be able to say he should have done this at 16? What is it? COVID is just, it's still now. We're still living this. So the information he's getting, does he sit down and watch Parliament Channel? Does he sit down and watch the news consistently? No. But we do, or we claim we do as adults, or we get our feeds from social media. But by way of actually understanding what he shouldn't be doing, why would he know that? Besides the fact that you have to have a mask. He had a mask. And that's the fact. So if we were in a court of law right now, he did have a mask. Yes, it was dripping wet. It was raining. I didn't have another one. So I got on the train. I tried to cover my face with my jacket. So I did everything in my power and possibility to actually cover my face, despite the fact that there were people on the train that didn't have a mask. And in my eye, didn't see you ask any of them for a mask. You diverted yourself directly to me as a young 16-year-old male and my 10 friends. Some of them had on masks, some of them didn't. So what was your actual reason and cause to come directly to me and my friends, rather than actually questioning all those others that were on the train prior to you getting to me? I personally, as a young Black male, chose to go 5 carriages down, but that still wasn't enough for me to actually have to live through what you've done to me. Now I am traumatized by my experience with you people. What do I do now? This is the catalyst that I deal with on a regular basis of the interaction with our children and police, that at the end of the day, our children are like, oh yeah, the police are there to protect and serve and all the rest of this thing, until the day comes when they're 6 foot and it's like, oh, this is my interaction with the police. When I was in school, they told us that they're there to do this and they've come into school and they've been really nice. But no, that's not been my interaction. My interaction has been aggression, been forcefulness, been held by the throat and dragged off a train. I don't trust these people and I never will trust these people. I'm 16, that is going to embed in his brain. Who's going to deal with that psychological trauma? Not these same people. So this is like, when you think about, when people are throwing, these so-called adults are throwing out their judgmental comments, they need to actually understand, first of all, the age of this young man. And second of all, how much of the news do you guys watch? Because if you're watching the news that much, that means that your influence has been actually influenced too heavily against our own children.
I find it interesting that they moved 5 carriages down the train and the police officers pursued to follow them to wherever they were. So
really?
I wonder, how many people did they pass on that train that didn't have a mask, that they completely ignored and didn't ask them any questions to get to this young man and his friends, you know? Like,
and people want to pretend that racial profiling doesn't exist.
You know, and I believe that they target our young men knowing that they're not ready or equipped or prepared on how to deal with them. So the emotions or hormones, everything is raging in that situation, and obviously they're going to get the response that they need to be able to trigger the response that the police officers want to carry out in order to do what they have clearly done on the footage. And I don't understand how our community or people in our community can look at that same footage and be questioning the young man Isaac on his behaviors, when clearly he, like we said, he's put the mask on and the police continued, like, pursued him to make a bigger situation out of something that could have been cleared.
And for those people that are there, like, questioning what Isaac should have done, yeah. All right, then. So check it. Your child disrespects you in public, yeah. If you grab your child by the throat and someone calls the police, what will happen to you as a parent?
Yeah,
at the
straight
point
up and down.
off of the train, he was not committing a crime and he had a mask on, so there was no reason for Isaac to be taken off the train. So you as a parent, if you feel disrespected and you physically rough up your child in public, don't you expect social services to be on your ass?
I just know that if I worked in a supermarket and someone called me a pussy-o and I responded in that manner, I probably would be sacked. If I worked in a school and a child called me a pussy-o and I responded in that manner, I probably would have been sacked. And if I worked as a doctor or a nurse of that nature, and I guess a patient called me a pussy, and I responded that way, dragged them by the throat and threw them out of the building, then I probably would have been sacked or my position would be questioned.
And this is bearing in mind it happened to someone of 16 years of age.
I don't understand where we're at as a community. Like, I'm not saying that we are meant to be encouraging any young person to behave in any way. I'm not saying to support this, but this is not the way to nurture and educate and encourage our children to be and do better and to learn from their mistakes and move forward. Can
I just say something as well? Yeah. It's interesting because there's been many legal and high court cases where you have young white males who have been convicted of rape. You have instances where you have a lot of young white males who have been convicted of drug trafficking, who have been convicted of pedophilia, who have been convicted of murder, who have been convicted of driving with under the influence, who have been convicted of gun and knife crime, who have been convicted of all of these things. And none of them, in the cases I'm speaking of, have been sent to prison. No one in the general white society, because this is their community, has said, well, they should have, because they don't go to prison. Their academic achievements prison would be too harsh for them. However, our children, and this particular case is so minor in the run of legal support. It is one of those cases that it's a civil matter. It's not a criminal matter. It's a civil matter. It's so low down in the run of a civil matter that most solicitors generally wouldn't touch it except from a human rights perspective. And I say that to say that the fact that something like this and our own community are quick to publicly be on this thing, like say their name is flipping, what a boy name now? The one that did the chambers with the Jewish people then. Me know me I talk. So that we're so quick, because we listen to these people so much and we watch the news and the media so much because the media is so jarring, and we hear and we're told and we're fed the lie. And those same people that are on your feed, and I'm talking to you lot directly, whether you like me, hate me, or indifferent, come and talk to me directly, see if I don't shut you down, is that you lot are so caught up in the BS. You're so caught up in demonizing our young children, our own people that look like you. But then on the flip side, when your child is the one that's going to be faced with the same issue, you're going to be, oh, how could they treat me this way? Really? Because you didn't have nothing in check. That's how. Because you were quick to judge the next brother or sister. That's why. Because you aren't listening or seeing. You're so caught up in white society, wider society, that you forget where your family and heart values are about you and yours first. Protection of our own nation. You're not doing that. And that's why when they say Black people can't get along, or this people can't get along, and that and the other, it's not that we can't get along. It's that there's so many enough that have been really ingrained and inbuilt into this whole society that is against everything about us, that is against our holisticness, that is against our nature, that is against our dark skin tone, that is against everything about us. Everything about our sons is criminal. Everything about our sons is aggressive. Everything about our daughters is promiscuous. And if you don't see this in what they're putting out there about you and your child, oh, my child's doing okay because they're A-gifted. Really? How's your child's social and emotional intelligence getting on? How's your child's social and emotional intelligence when they have to get a bus because you're actually exploring the world? And then your son or daughter gets manhandled by a police officer. All of a sudden, you know our number, though. But before that, you had no interest. You had no care because it didn't affect you. And because it doesn't affect you directly, then it must be that person's problem. It must be his mother's problem. It must be because he was not raised properly, or she was promiscuous because her mum's probably this way or that way. When that's not the case. That's not the case at all. That's what I have to say on that. I could say more, but this isn't the platform because it's in the public domain, and you guys, just like me, will be banned.
Man, yes, thank you, Cheryl. And we're going to bring in Raspect. I hope he's ready and he's there. Been waiting a little while.
Ras, do you want to unmute yourself when you're ready?
I definitely find it intriguing, disappointing, almost heartbreaking, not even almost, heartbreaking, that we as a community are the only ones that seem to chastise our own the way that we do. And I don't know how, I just don't understand how we can get around this, because that's the whole point of our platform for the Black British parent, to be supporting parents to understand, to empower us to understand, and so that we can then continue to support our children and have these kinds of conversations. And like I keep saying, I just cannot believe some of the comments that I had to read underneath the repost on our Instagram page. Like,
I would say,
just
like, at
didn't make
least
any
as
sense. And
as
this idea
people,
of
give the benefit of the doubt. If you ain't got nothing nice to say, shut the up. If you ain't got nothing nice
and
to
they
say,
feel so
or
free to say what they're saying.
and that's the thing. Why are we publicly chastising our children? How dare you publicly chastise my child? And I don't mean my birth child, I mean my child, because as far as I'm concerned, all of these young people are our children. How dare you do that in this kind of society where we are faced with racism on a daily basis in the schools, in the prisons, in the workplace? How dare you go online to a baby? He's a baby, he's 16. I know he thinks he's grown because he's got a couple of hairs under his arms and in all the kind of places, but he is still for us to protect. But yet, instead of that, you like a quick, the master's child. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to let you take in your next speaker, because these kind of things annoy me, which is why I have not watched the video, and I won't watch the video, because that will hurt my soul to know that they've treated someone that could be my child. I've only got sons. That could be my child out there. And that's how they're treating my child. No, sir.
Man, I was really, really upset. It was really heartbreaking. I even, before we had this live, I spoke to a friend of mine and explained to her what happened, and you know, the general consensus, how people responded back to it, and she couldn't believe it herself. And even then, to see the way that the media has twisted this story, they tried to paint it as, you know, shock horror, this happened to a young man who didn't have a mask, but then they also proceeded to almost tell a story in a way to make people side with the police officer over this young man. And I just couldn't believe it. It's just I can believe it. I don't know why I'm that shocked, to be fair, but it's still, you know, it's still Greetings, Raspect. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Peace and blessings, peace and blessings.
And we've been discussing this issue with the video that you shared on the platform, Police to Police. We have Isaac here. He's on mute. At any point you want to have any words or say anything to him, we can do. But I wanted to get your perspective as to why you shared the video and what your thoughts are on it.
Okay, so as soon as I saw the video, Kels, who's running the Police Global, sent it to me. It was on Street Blogs, one of them viral kind of channels on Instagram. So I've seen it now. I've clicked onto it. I've watched the video. As I'm watching the video, I'm disgusted immediately. Yeah, I'm disgusted immediately from the behavior of the police officers. Now, everyone's getting onto the Isaac, like, youth are cheeky. He wasn't rude. He wasn't abusive. He wasn't aggressive. He was a little bit cheeky. Yeah, and as far as I've checked the law, it is not illegal to be cheeky. Being cheeky doesn't put you in jail. Being cheeky does not warrant abuse. Being cheeky does not warrant an arrest, and it does not warrant an assault. So when I saw the comments on Street Blogs of, oh, he should have just put on his mask, he should have just put on his mask, I was disgusted. at the brainwashing that is happening to society. Remember, mandatory masks had only been executed for 1 day when this had happened. The government told us about herd immunity first. Then they told us about you can wear your mask sometimes. Then they told us about they've had at least 10 different advices for us during this whole pandemic. Yeah, the first day where they was actually, I'm sure, issuing mandatory masks on the trains was that day. So to expect anyone 16, 28, 50 to just be wearing masks naturally, yeah, wasn't realistic. And then there's the whole argument that many people have, and the youth will be privy to this argument of whether the mask is even combating coronavirus. You know, I see the the metaphor of, you know, if you fart, you still smell it. Yeah, so I don't know how this killer virus, this killer virus is being stopped by these masks. But okay, it's mandatory. They're trying to enforce it, but they have to remember that they are public servants. You used the analogy earlier, Debbie, and I think it was perfect. If you was a school teacher in a school and a child was cheeky and you decided to put your hands on that child, you would lose your job. If you was working in a shop and someone was cheeky and you put your hand on them, you would lose your job. So how comes the police, which is meant to be the most disciplined job within this society that we're living in, when they act like little children, yeah, throwing their toys out the pram because someone said something that hurt my feelings. I thought he could be a pussy. Cry me a river. Mark Duggan, R.I.P. You know what I'm saying? Smiley Culture, R.I.P. Yeah? We've actually lost people to your institution and you're crying because someone, and the thing is, you misheard it. That's the worst part. The youth said angrily that they always take us for pussies, which shows that there's a history of a relationship with the police, which means that they abuse their power, which is something that the black community knows only too well, which is why I was disgusted by every black person within those comments that took the first initiative to get onto the youth. Now, don't get it twisted. When I saw the video, I was like, I want to teach my little brothers how to deal with the youth, with the police, because the police will try to catch you out. Yeah, it came from this. My criticism wasn't towards the youth, but any criticism I had come from a place of being a big bro and knowing that the police tried to abuse their power, knowing the police tried to wind people up so they can get arrested, and wanting to be there for my little brother and give him 1-2 pieces of information that may help him in the next time that he's in a situation like this. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's the tip that we should all be coming from, because as you said, these are all of our youth. Yeah. So if we see there's an issue in how our police are how our youth are engaging with the police, then it's up to us to create platforms like Black British Parents that educate us, to create platforms like Police to Police Global that can educate the community, or keep our mouth shut. Either create the solution, support the solution, or keep your mouth shut, because you're not part of the solution. So for me, I was aggravated. The first thing the officer done is the way that he spoke to the youth was not how he would speak to a white MP. It was not how he would speak to a white elderly lady. It was not how he would speak to the average person within the public. Respect breeds respect. If he had spoken to Isaac with respect, I guarantee you he would have got a level of respect from Isaac. If he had just tried to explain, look, mate, I don't even want to do this, but there's a new law and, you know, we have to get everyone to put them up. If he spoke to him like a human being, then Isaac would have returned the respect that is due to a human being. But if you want to come like you're just telling people what to do and you're some authoritarian, you think that the Hitler regime's still alive and you can just go around telling people how you want. I saw people saying, oh, if it was America, but I don't want to hear about if it was America. This is the UK, and just because there's worse oppression in other places doesn't mean that we're going to downplay the oppression that we face here in the UK. Doesn't mean we're going to make excuses for that oppression either. So for for me, it was like from the beginning, I saw the way the police was engaging was not as a public servant. And my first thing would have been to remind him that he's a public servant. Then the second big thing was once the mask went on, once the friend was given the mask, go about your business and tell someone else to wear their mask. Yeah? Go about your business. You've got the mask on now. But instead you wanted to chill around. Yeah? And then when someone said something that you didn't like, yeah, which we all hear every day, you know, if someone calls me a pussy, I'm not allowed to put my hands on them. I'm a normal member of public, yeah, but I'm still not allowed. I'll still be arrested for assault. So don't think because you're a police officer that you have any powers above anyone else. There was no law broken, which is why no one was arrested. And you know what, Isaac, I'll big up you and your brethren for the way that you all defended each other that day, man. Because that's how it needs to be. Everyone on the train should have just taken off their masks and said, and what? That's what I would have started, a mask revolution. Yeah, everyone take off your mask. What are you gonna do now? Arrest all of us because it's ridiculous. So, from the assault, that was disgusting, and the fact that no law was broken. Yeah, harm, loss, and injury. There was no law broken. Like, and the police was definitely abusing their power 100%. And this is the power tripping police that we're dealing with in the UK. So for me, it's firstly about criticizing the police because they're the authority, they're the adults, yeah, they're the responsible adults in the situation. And then it's about me talking to Isaac and saying, yo, Isaac, let me and you talk, and I got something called the Police Global course where I can link up with you and your friends. You can come and meet me down in Brixton, and we can just do a class on police and their rights. And my brother, this is the most valuable course that you'll ever go on, because you'll be able to use language with police afterwards that will make them double think about abusing you. Because when you ask them, am I obliged to speak to you? Yeah, it makes police behave differently because you're speaking to them in their language. If they haven't seen, smelt, touched, or heard something that directly links you to a crime, they have no reasonable grounds for a stop and search. This is something that a lot of our youth don't know. Yeah, if you've been stopped and searched because they believe they've had reasonable grounds and they don't find anything, you don't have to give them any details. You don't have to say your name, your address, where you're going, what you ate for breakfast that morning. You don't have to give them any information after that. And they trick a lot of our youth after the stop and search to believe that they have to give over their details. So these are the stuff that we're teaching within the Police Global course. And one of the main things we're teaching is to stay calm, which is extremely difficult. When we say stay calm, we don't say it lightly. We say it because we know that the police try to antagonize you, to use it against you, and try to be as respectful as you possibly can, because it shows that you're at a higher level than them. Now, my brother's 16. When I was 16, bro, I was worse. I can show you videos. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, we used to cuss them out the road. You get me? But I had to learn that that wasn't always the most productive way to deal with them. But that was a learning curve that I had to go through. You couldn't criticize me at 16 for behaving like that, because at 15, my brethren had his locks pulled by police for no reason and had his face smudged into the ground to the point where I'm asking my brethren, shall I back it? And I'm ready to get, you know what I'm saying? I'm ready to get it on. Yeah. So,
hello, Raspect, you're cutting out a little bit. In fact, a lot.
While Raspect's trying to sort out the connection, the thing that I also want to kind of draw to everyone's attention is that what we.
So that's get 15. I was on Instagram. There was so many people with so much opinion.
So Raspect, you cut out a huge chunk, so we didn't get to hear anything, and you're now muted as well.
I think he was trying to catch up with everything that was said.
Hello? Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Thank you.
Just one thing. The thing as well is that people say that his friends were egging him on and they were being cheeky or what have you. Like, in us exercising our legal right not to give our details, people mistake that for not being compliant or being cheeky or escalating a situation. If it's not within your legal right to provide information, you don't have to, and don't feel obligated to.
Yeah, that's the key point. Because a lot of the time when you say you don't want to speak to them, they try and make that seem like you're acting shifty, and that's reasonable grounds, which is not. You just have no legal obligations to speak to them. And it's very important that these things are filmed. Police to Police Global is the world's first database which actually logs in police's names, badge numbers, stations, locations, license plates of what's happening. So we will have a database to see not only what police are doing the harassment, but where it is happening the most. Yeah, and that way we can deploy members from our community to police in those places where we can see the location comes up a lot. So we know that, well, maybe Brixton, there's a lot of police that like to abuse their power. So we're going to go out there and engage and educate the police on this. But like I'm saying, these stuff, it's not going to happen overnight. Us complaining about a young man on Instagram ain't going to help us. Are you willing to fund the education program that teaches the youth how to engage with police? Because if you're not, shut your mouth. Are you willing to fund a program that deploys people from our community to engage with the police on behalf of our youth? Because if you're not, shut your mouth. Like, my thing is, if you're not willing to invest in a solution, then don't complain. Because when it's your child, yeah, when it's your biological child, I'm sure you have a whole different position, especially considering now we know that the brother's 16, you know what I'm saying, which is very young, you know what I'm saying, very young, and I respect you highly, Isaac, for the way you maintained yourself. And that's why, you know, I messaged Isaac straight away, like, send me that video, and I let him know that I know you got a lot of Fight on the Street Blogs channel, but you see on my channel, bro, watch the love that you get, watch the support that you get. And out of that, Black British Parent posted it, and here we are now. And I'm sure he's seen on my page hundreds of comments, even though there are some who are more critical of him. The majority of them on my page are really defending him and in his corner and understanding where he's coming from. So yeah, big up the people out there that have that understanding and always stand for our youth, man. 100,000,000%.
Yes, Raspect, and we respect and admire the works that you're doing in the community, particularly with and for the young people, and this project that you're bringing about now, which has been much needed. I mean, it's overdue to have a program, a system put in place, such as the one you are currently developing and growing and nurturing. Yeah, and also thank you for bringing this to our attention, because as much as I know at the detriment of Isaac, unfortunately, having to deal with this backlash of what's going on, like, had we not seen any footage like this, we wouldn't be aware of how this is happening. I mean, we've had loads of videos over the pandemic season climate where our young boys are being harassed by the police, literally going about their business, harassed. And it just feels like this whole face covering legislations and laws that's put in place is just another reason to beeline and target our community and the young people in our community, you know.
And we knew as soon as this was going to be rolled out that our children were going to be the worst hit out of it. We're already targeted disproportionately by the police. So what do you think is going to happen when we're faced with a situation like face masks?
And I understand that many of those comments who weren't necessarily as supportive as we would like them to be, I understand that it's all coming from a space of fear, you know. But, you know, with fear, I find it's just a level of not understanding or not knowing. And it's just this, we need to be a bit more educated. We need to be a bit more compassionate and empathetic with especially the young ones in our community. And you know, I mean, anybody in our community, obviously, but Isaac himself, he hasn't got a criminal record. He's never had any dealings with the police before. He's a young man who's interested. I think when I spoke to him, he said he wants to go into university come 18. He's interested in being in sports. He has a whole bright future ahead of him. And he's having to deal with situations like this over a face mask where, you know, okay, we admit, we know it's now a legal requirement to wear face covering, you know, but if you're not wearing one, then you're fined. So not saying I'm encouraging Isaac or any other youth to be fined, but that was the other option. There should have been no cause for this police officer to put his hands on a child.
And this is bearing in mind that this legislation or what have you has only just recently been rolled out.
And it's grateful. This is why it's important, you know, as much as we have these conversations, these, you know, for or against, but why it's important to have people from our community working within these kinds of establishments and institutions, because having that Black police officer, that Black male police officer actually was able to assist this young man in this situation, you know, and this police officer, this Black male police officer was able to reassure the young man, to let him know that he hadn't actually done anything wrong. So go figure. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add to that. I mean, there's so much more I could say. This whole situation is really, really upsetting. I'm still trying to keep myself together to be able to get this message across to everyone. And this is in no way about trying to disrespect anybody. This is just out of concern. You know, as Cheryl had said, this is our son. You know, if any child out, this is our child. When we talk about it takes a village, and when we talk about bettering ourselves for our children, like, this is what we're talking about. And exactly as Raspect said, you know, all those people have their views and their comments. Like, you know, unless you're a part of the solution, then there's no use in saying anything, you know, unless you're going to help fund. And as I say this, we're going to be including the PayPal links for Black Child Agenda and Police Global underneath this video. It will stay there permanently. And I encourage you guys to support both these organizations, because without them, a lot of parents will be lost. I'm telling you that now. There's a lot of people that rely on the services of Cheryl Phoenix and the Black Child Agenda. And there's a lot of children, young people that have benefited from the support and assistance from Raspect and the works that he's done.
Yeah, definitely
So
agree with that still.
Isaac, I hope you feel slightly better about what you've endured. I hope you feel supported by ourselves, Cheryl, myself, Dwayne, and Debbie, and Dwayne, and Raspect. And you have my contact details, so we can speak again soon. And thank you for taking the time out because I imagine this must have been very challenging for you to have to bring all of that back again, because this is. Is he
still here?
Sorry?
Is he still here, Isaac?
Yeah, Isaac's still here. Do you want to speak to him?
I just wanted to air just his thoughts.
Okay.
After...
Isaac, are you still here? Do you want to unmute your mic?
Hello.
Hi, Isaac. I think Raspect wanted to ask you a few questions, darling.
Bless, bro.
What are you saying? You're right?
Yeah, I'm cool still. I'm cool. No, I just wanted to know, like, how you feeling now after the show, just to kind of get to know how you're feeling about the thoughts, like, and so on, man. Just get your thoughts, your final thoughts on this.
To be honest, I'm feeling a lot better, because I feel like there's a lot of weight that's come off my chest, and especially how people didn't really understand the full thing, and me being able to tell you guys, and also the platform you have now, I can get people to understand that, oh, what's happened fully. So yeah, it's helped me a lot, and what you guys are doing is very helpful, very, very helpful. Just thank you guys for that.
Bless, my brother, bless. And like I said, and this is straight for free. I got a local Police Global course that just gives some real pungent knowledge that most of us don't really have when it comes to dealing with the police. And yeah, if you wanted to enroll in that, are you far from Brixton, bro? What size are you in?
I live in West Norwood.
Okay, yeah, south side of the river. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll link you, and you can bring however many of your brothers that you want, and yeah, you can come down. We got a local base in Brixton, where we also do physical training as well. We do quite a lot of different. I don't want to talk too much here, but I think 30 still. You get me? And you might come down and yeah, just just to empower you with that knowledge, you know what I'm saying? So next time that the police do come up to you or your friends, you just got that little bit more. Because my thing is, we can't be just getting on to the youth and this and that. Like, if I'm not here trying to give you a solution that helps you to do a bit better next time, then I got to shut my mouth, little bro. You get it?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, that is there and that is open for you. So yeah, I think you got my WhatsApp or you got me on DMs on Instagram. So just DM me and let me know, and we'll line up a date and you can come down and we could just do that little course. And I'm 100% that after you come out of that course, not only will there be stuff that you didn't know before that you know at the end of the course, but there'll be a level of feeling empowered when you do come across, especially these power tripping police in the future. Yeah, that's open and that's there for you, bro.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Raspect. Cheryl, is there anything else you want to say before we end this evening?
Do you know, just quickly, I sent the video, the link that you sent me on YouTube of the video to one of my friends to watch, because I was telling her about what happened and what I'm doing tonight and just jump on the call. And the video is no longer available on YouTube. So that gives you an idea of what this is about. She can't find it. I sent her the link and she sent me, I'm just watching my screen going bling, 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 bling. The video is no longer available on YouTube or anywhere else. So someone's pulled it down, and that's because, you see, when we're dealing with the demons, they're always going to find a way to stop you from actually feeding into what they're doing. And what Isaac experienced is what they're doing, and they do it on a daily basis. The only thing is that it's may not be recorded. And for those that are recorded, we need to highlight it, we need to jump on it, and we need to expose it. And we need to talk about it, but then we need to get organized yet again. We keep saying this, or someone needs to take it to the higher level and just make a scene about it, because they've been abusing us and our children since we've come to this country. And because we don't speak out, because we don't say that we're unapologetic in our stance as young Black males or females, they are able to step us down, to shut us down, and there's nothing we do about it. So I hope moving forward from tonight's meeting and many others, I know there's going to be many, many others, as what I deal with, and some of the cases, as I've spoken to you about, Debbie, there's so many. So it is a case of standing up and taking it all the way. And if that means challenging them in the court, you don't have to be a lawyer, solicitor, barrister to challenge them in their own courts. You don't have to be that. So don't think that you need to rely on a solicitor, a barrister, or anyone else to do what you need to do. It's a lot of due diligence, and it's a lot of reading, and it's a lot of research, which is why our organization, the Black Child Agenda, is able to do what we've done. I'm not a solicitor, I'm not a barrister. However, I've taken on QCs in a lot of legal cases to do with our children. And I have won, shut down, hands down, don't chat to me, pay that parent what you need to pay her, and give that child what he needs. So we need to understand as parents and as individuals in the community, whether you are a parent or not, make sure you understand the law. And it's not just criminal law. We're talking about civil law, education law, immigration law, employment law, children and family services. These are the biggest areas that affect the Black community, but these are the areas where they've scrapped legal aid to support who and what we are and what we're doing. Why? Because it is about a lot of us, and they're quick to take away our children because they make up claims. They're quick to make you lose your job because you can't go to the school because you go to the school every single day. They're quick to kick out your kid because you can't come to the school every day because you're working. They're quick to say, if the unfortunate thing, they changed the law on immigration. There's so many things that we need to get a fay with, and it's not just crime, and it's not just civil matters, it is the whole sphere. If we're looking to stay here because we were invited, then we need to understand what and who we're dealing with. And unless we understand what and who we're dealing with, then we're always going to come afoot. We're always going to be on the back pedal. So we need to really, really engage with the services of Raspect, with the services of Black British Parent, with the services of Black Child Agenda, and all the others out there that deal with or can refer you to the specialists in those areas, to make sure that you're getting the support you need, and stop trying to deal with things in isolation, because your children are watching. And that's all I've got to say.
Thank you very much, Cheryl. Ras and Cheryl, thank you so much for joining us. A special appreciation. Thank you, Isaac, for braving it and joining us in this conversation. Love and respect to everybody that joined us this evening and that will comment in the comment section. We didn't get to read them, but I'll have a look through them later on. And like I said, keep supporting Black Child Agenda. Please keep supporting Raspect's organization, Please to Please Global. You can find all three of us on Instagram. And we hopefully, I want to say that we're not going to have these conversations in the future, but as Cheryl said, that they're going to be happy. Man, I don't know what to say, but is there anything you want to say, the last words?
No, thank you, Isaac. I know that it wasn't an easy decision to kind of come on. I know there was a lot of back and forth, but thank you again for braving it, as Debbie said. Thank you, Raspect and Cheryl, for joining and adding your wisdom to the conversation. And it's good to have these conversations and then have solutions to these situations. So thank you, Raspect and Cheryl, for having solutions to these situations as well.
And making the time to be here with us. Yeah.
Thank you guys. Hope you have a good evening, and
good night and take care.
Bye.
Peace.